This morning, Marilyn McIlroy and I are going to attempt to introduce you to a new initiative. Just got to make sure I'm on. We will use a question and answer format. I'll ask her a question, she'll provide an answer, she'll ask me, I'll provide an answer. At the end, we'll give you an opportunity, or throughout, we'll give you an opportunity to ask questions about the initiative and our part in it. Let's see, you may also put questions in the chat and I'll check those out and we'll attempt to address them. So to start, Marilyn, where, when, how did the Haiti RD 1-4 initiative, or the Haiti project, where did it come from? So Marilyn, it's over to you.
Okay, good morning, Trinity. And John, I'd like to be able to share the screen.
You should be able to.
Good morning, Trinity. I want to share my screen this morning. And I'm still in the process of finding my piece here. So, good. I don't think I'm able to share yet, John. Good.
Maybe Marilyn, you have to start what you're going to share before you share screen so that it shows up on your screen.
Sorry, I'm only seeing the whiteboard.
Yeah, so your other thing might not be open on your screen.
Okay, thank you. Sorry.
Okay.
We haven't done this together yet, so this is good. Okay, great.
Themselves, people. There she is. There you are.
Perfect. Wonderful. So in November of 2019, Nicole Jones-Conda and myself led a team with 3 ladies from Albright EMC in Winnipeg. And that trip was to Jean de Notte, and the purpose was that it was a listening tour. The goal was for us to listen to key leaders, representatives from the AEM community in Jean de Notte, representing education and health and agriculture. And as they sat around the table for 2 days, they reflected on the resources that God had provided for their communities. I didn't participate in this session. I didn't want to influence them in any way. So they spent 2 days reflecting. The result of those 2 days was that the local partners, the local representatives, concluded that education and food security, that being the provision of enough food daily for people in the community. So education and food security were the most important needs in that village of Jean de Notte. In Luke 10, today I just wanted to share with you Jesus' story of the Good Samaritan. And he presented that story in response to a question from an expert in the law. And the question was, who is my neighbor? And EMCC is committed to loving God and loving our neighbors as ourselves. And in the Good Samaritan story, we have this gentleman that's going on a mission, on a journey from Jerusalem down to Jericho. And he's attacked and left for dead, robbed and left for dead at the side of the road. And he is a Jewish gentleman. And 2 Jewish people come along, and they don't want to touch him because they are part of the Jewish either priests or Levites, and they don't want to be contaminated. But a Samaritan gentleman comes along, and he recognizes that there's a need. So he assesses the need. He goes right up to the fellow who's laying, looks like he's almost dead, at the side of the road. He picks this gentleman up. So he develops a plan, an emergency plan. He picks the guy up, puts him on his donkey. He takes him to the nearest inn. He cares for the man there. He asks the innkeeper then to look after him for the next few days until he returns. And the gentleman leaves money for the innkeeper to take care of him. And so as EMCC World Partners, we are committed to loving God, and we are committed to loving our neighbors. And as a result of that 2019 listening tour, in 2020, Nicole and myself spent really the whole year preparing and planning out of what was ascertained, discerned in Jean de Notte, that there was a need for education and food security in that community. And so the initiative was developed. And I was asked actually a couple of months ago by Cynthia, actually, from the Mission Committee, how we could participate in one of the relief and development projects. They decided on relief and development, RD 146 initiative. And so that was presented then to the Trinity community at large, the leadership of Trinity, and was approved as outside of the budget project. So John, can you tell me what is your interest in Haiti, and particularly in this initiative, RD 146?
Well, Marilyn, I come at this basically by saying, I believe we have so much. God has blessed us. I've been to Haiti 4 times. I love the people. They think I'm a little bit of a comedian. I'm not quite sure why, but they do. And I believe that God has given us the ability to walk alongside them, to partner with them. But I need to say right up front that this initiative is different than any of the previous projects we've been involved in. On one occasion, we built houses shortly after the earthquake. On another, we dug a trench so that a wall could be erected and the enclosure could hold a seniors home. And we worked on that for a while. On the 3rd and 4th, we worked in a little place called Benoit. There's a little, remote place. And we built a clinic. I can still remember that, but this initiative is very different. To the best of my knowledge, it's come from the collecting of information from people in Haiti and saying, them saying to us, can you walk alongside us? Can you help us? I believe that this one has the potential of some very long-term results for an entire community. And I believe that this is God honoring, but I'm a little bit selfish. I also love engaging the Trinity family in fundraising activities. We've done some pretty kooky things together, but it's been a lot of fun along the way. This time, it's very different. With a pandemic, we can't do big, large-scale events. We can't, well, maybe we could do a golf tournament at some point, but probably not. So we need to find different ways of bringing people on board. So before I go into that, I want to go back to Marilyn, and most of us, many people on this call this morning have been to Haiti. I look at the gallery and I see several who've been to Haiti before, but many of us haven't been to Haiti. So Marilyn, tell us a little bit about Jean de Notte.
Wonderful. I'm going to go back to my screen share. Our community, first of all, of Trinity, is about demonstrating the love of God. We can think about our area inside that orange square, and then as we think larger, and especially today with prayer in the park, we pray for our community, and we're looking at the country of Canada. And we also reach out to Jean de Notte and Haiti. And Jean de Notte is a community, you can see my little star there, my arrow. It's a community about 14 kilometers south of the city here of Wanamint. Wanamint is on the Dominican border. And but speaking of rural, it's not quite as remote as Benoit, but it is it's a mountainous village. And the area in and around Jean de Notte has very poor soil from overuse, from lack of inputs into the soil, from lack of crop rotation, and then as well soil erosion. The community of Jondonat is a population about 8,500 people, and the statistics for Haiti show that 43% of the population of Haiti is under the age of 20. And so that shows how education for that age group is really important.
So Marilyn, before we go much further today, maybe it's a good idea to explain RD 146.
Okay. I need to share my screen again. RD 146 is this lovely, has lots of lovely big words in it. It's about food security and it's community mobilization, but what does all of that mean? It's assisting our Haitian partner church, which is the AEM, to support their families through integrated education, sustainability, and agriculture self-sufficiency. Well, it's simply about this. It's about education for children. It's about food on a daily basis. And it's about bringing about change for a larger community, which these are 3 target areas. We need to begin though with some key people in leadership. And so on the left of our screen, you will see Erlinda. Her name is Erlinda Philogène, and she's actually our EMC World Partners, a person who represents us in Haiti and Haiti to us here in Canada, but she is also the administrator of this RD 146. And then there is Ernso. He's this energetic young agricultural dude. He's a graduate of university in Haiti in agriculture, and he is our trainer in what is called conservation agriculture or farming God's way, and leading the development of gardens of faithfulness. Our first target though is about education. 50 children from the Jondonat, larger Jondonat community have been chosen by the leadership of the school, by the administrators, to benefit or to be beneficiaries in this initiative. And these 50 children would otherwise have not had opportunity to go to school, to buy books or uniforms. And then we also are able within Target 1 to resource teachers and books as well as supplies for the larger school. So not just the 50 children, but for all of the school. And then secondly, we have target number 2, which is the gardens piece or the agriculture piece. Now, the word is integrated. So we have integrated the teachers in the school with the gardening process. So the teachers have learned or are in the process of learning about gardens of faithfulness. You can see here they've measured out or are in the process of measuring. These are 1 by 2 meter gardens. And these teachers are learning about the importance of these gardens within the community. And we're also facilitating purchase of garden equipment as well as inputs for the garden. And then it's about the garden piece or the agriculture piece is about training families. And these aren't just random families. These are the families of the children, families or caregivers of the 50 children that have been chosen to participate in the school. And these families are learning about how to do gardening. And you may say, well, isn't that just common sense to do gardening? Well, they have obviously done gardening in a different way, and it hasn't been very profitable, or they wouldn't have these needs today. And so they're learning about the importance of composting, about crop rotation, and so forth. They're learning how to do this in a small way, small scale first, to, as I said, compost And then they will be using God's blanket. That's this straw that comes around the plants. Why would you put straw? Why do you do that? Well, that is to hold the water, the rainfall when it rains, and keep the moisture within the soil. Also helps with the weeds, but that's another side benefit. Now, these are 1 by 2 meter gardens. And let me tell you that they're not looking like this yet. They are in the process, but it will take a while, but we have faith, we're trusting, we're thankful for the goodness of God, as we sang this morning, and how God is faithful, and we believe that he will provide. The third target is community mobilization. Well, what does that mean? Well, it's really about the neighbors hearing about these gardens of faithfulness, the 1 by 2 meter gardens happening in their neighbors' community, in their neighbors' front yards. And it's about neighbors asking, well, can I be involved? Or what in the world are you doing? Tell me about this. Will this really make a difference? And we are trusting God and his faithfulness for the flourishing of Jean de Nantes, for the future hope. This is Farming God's Way. And it's in Haiti, it's in a different part of Haiti, but it shows that this is possible. And we trust with God's hand of blessing, with good rainfall and good stewardship of the land, and with our resources, that this will happen in Jean de Nantes. So, John, you know what? I am so excited about this project. I can hardly stand it. What about you? Can you tell us a little bit about how we can be involved, how we can participate? I'm just going to let you take it from there to show us how we can actually, as Trinity family, get on board with RD 146.
Well, Marilyn, I am excited. I am excited. Most of you know me, I'm a pretty laid back guy. I don't get excited about a lot of stuff, but this sounds really cool. There are several parts that I'm going to share over the next 10, 15 minutes. How can you support this project? You being the people of Trinity. How can, what are some of the things we can do here that will support there? And finally, we'll talk about pledges, and we'll talk about honoring those pledges. So I'm going to share my screen now. I'm going to see if I can pull this off. I would like to go to the Trinity website. With any luck at all, and somebody needs to shout if things aren't right. Got the Trinity website in front. Gwen, nod at me if you can see the Trinity website. Just nod. Perfect. I'm going to scroll down. And before I go too far, remember Prayer in the Park today. But Andy Morris does more than Prayer in the Park and make TV appearances. Marilyn and I had a kooky little idea that maybe we could do something very similar to what happened at Christmas, where we supported the 5 families, and we could get people to opt in. So Andy has done a lot of work, and Andy, forgive us for, hey, that's a great idea, but can you do this? Would you, we're just so thankful for your skills. So I'm gonna, oops, I went to the wrong one, guys. Kind of cancel for a second. What happened? Here we go. Boy, I get so excited, Marilyn.
I know, it's good, it's there.
On the screen that says Haiti Initiative. So I'm gonna click on that. It's right on the Trinity website. Just scroll down on the home page. Now, if you want a review of some of the points that Marilyn made, there's a little video here. It's about a 2-minute video. It was made in Marilyn's backyard. You can see her neighbor's clothesline, but no laundry, no underwear hanging. At the top of this page, you will see that there's a descriptor here. And then it talks about making a pledge. Well, I'm going to give you a live example of making a pledge in a few seconds. Also, there are 3 contacts. We've included Lori Given as the chair of the missions committee. So if you've got questions, Lori is a contact, Marilyn's a contact, and I'm a contact. So a pledge. So I'm going to show you a really neat thing. Now, I don't know if you can see the whole thing. I can't see your screen, but on the top, there's a grayed out picture. And on the very left side of the picture, it says 0%. No pledges have been made. And it says 0% of the $7,615 that we would need to support 1 month of this initiative. That's what we're asking for. We're not asking for it today. Maybe we should have, but we aren't. And then there's so on the bottom line, it says progress, 0% pledged. And then it says 0% funds received. So that's going to be something that gets updated on a regular basis. But if I want you to look at the pledge screen, it tells you exactly what we need for 1 month support. And I like the way Andy's laid out the colors so that each line is a different color and you can highlight it. We need to support school directors. There's 8 elementary school teachers, 10 middle school teachers. There's books and supplies. There's the administrator. There's the conservation agricultural specialist. And there's materials, there's fencing. So you're going to look at this list and say, you know what? This part of the list really appeals to me. Well, I'm going to tell you what happened about a week and a half ago. I got a letter from an email from my former boss telling me that he was grateful that I marked some papers. And he basically said that I was going to receive an honorarium for my marking. I knew one was coming. I didn't know how much it was. And it ended up being $225. Now, again, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the pledge process. Underneath that chart, you'll find this little thing down here, and you can read it, but I'm actually going to make a pledge. And my pledge is, John, I'm going to put Betty in eventually, but for now, let's just leave it at John. Now, there's pick your pledge. So I'm going to click, and there's a complete listing of the pledges. Now, one of the ones that I want to pick up on is maybe this. I'm going to pick the CA Trainer Continuing Education, $25, and I'm going to click. There was only one of that, and then I'm going to submit my pledge. Stamped it. But if I go up the page, nothing in the chart has changed until I go refresh results. Now, see, look at the line that says continuing education for CA Trainer 25. That's the one I just pledged. I have not done this. This is live, folks. So here we go. Now, let's see. Notice, now I don't know if you can see this really clearly.
Yes.
We no longer have need for anybody to do continuing education for a CA trainer, $25. That pledge has been chosen in a very similar way to the Christmas tree, where it was an entire list of here's items and you choose. And once that item was chosen, a gift appeared. Well, we don't have a gift, but we've got this. Well, remember I said it was $225? Well, I see that a middle school teacher is $195. I'm going to go take a look and do a second pledge. Now, you can't do 2 at the same time, so you have to do it separate. And I'm going to go John Galbraith one more time. I hope this is working. I'm going to pick my pledge. This time, I'm going to look at middle school teachers. So let's see, their names are there. So when you pick a pledge, maybe write the name down and put it on your fridge and remember to pray for them. Now, math teacher is there. Well, I think I'll leave that for maybe somebody else who has an interest in math teachers. There's science teachers. How about I pick the Bible teacher, $195. So I'm going to go that middle school teacher. I'm going to submit my pledge. I'm going to refresh the results. And then I'm going to go up And now the third line of the chart says 1 of 10 middle school teachers, $195 each. 1 of 10 is pledged for. So now there's only 9 left. Now, Andy told me that if I go down to the pledge form now, that person is no longer on the list, no longer available for you to pledge for. So I encourage you to get in quickly, choose, because your name may be gone before, oh, I really wanted the biology teacher. So that's how you make a pledge. And I think I'm excited about this because we can see, oh, look at the chart. I want to show you. The chart is now got some color on it. Our goal is to make that chart totally colored in. So right now it says progress 220 of the 7,615, or 3% of the pledges have been made. I would like that to get to 100% as quick as we can. You don't have to submit the money for your pledge right at this time. And I'm going to go over the giving, that part too. So I'm going to stop the screen share. I think that's pretty straightforward. Go to the Trinity website, go down the page. There's a Haiti initiative link. Click on that and you can choose. You can even do it during the service if you like, if you're finding that what I'm saying isn't super cool for you. All right, so I'm going to stop the screen share for a second. Now, the one thing that I wanted to do a little bit more interactively was, so what can we do to raise support? So my screen now is the whiteboard. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the floor for people to unmute themselves and give me ideas. And if you don't do it, I got a list, but my list is boring. So
if you're shy, you can write it in the chat.
Okay, I'm ready. So anybody got any ideas of projects that you could do to, I want to make a pledge of, let's say, $500. What are some of the things we could do to raise support for that pledge? I need you to help me.
Sell lemonade.
Sounds good to me.
I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking about you guys.
Okay, so we got a lemonade stand. Is that showing up on the screen?
Works good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to open Ella's Elegant Baked Goods again to raise some money.
Okay, Ella's Elegant.
Long name.
I think I got it right, Ella.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yep, that's right.
Perfect. I'm gonna make this box a little bit bigger. Oh, hang on. I just have to find the handle. There we go. All right, I'm ready for more.
This is COVID friendly. You could do a community car wash.
Okay. I'm beginning to hate the word COVID friendly. We will get beyond that, I hope. Car wash.
Can I just interject here? So there was a question about how long is the support for if the teacher is paid $195. So just want to add that we're doing 1 month of the project. So these are all 1 month values. Thanks for asking.
Yep. Anybody else got any ideas for me? Oh, come on, you guys. I know we've been together a long time.
Sell stuff.
Andrew said to buy stocks or sell stocks.
No, I was just kidding.
He's just joking.
Okay, cash in your stocks. How's that, Andrew?
Good.
How about having a garage sale?
Yep, sounds great.
How
And
about a virtual team builder?
a virtual what?
Team builder for families.
Okay, that sounds like family team builder. That sounds like something that's in Steph Morris and Rebecca Pinnell's team wheelhouse. That's
Okay.
a good idea. Anybody else?
I'm thinking I just received, we've just done our income tax.
Ooh.
What about sharing some of that?
Okay,
Refunds.
anybody else? I'm going to throw an obvious one at you. By the way, I want to say this right up front. I know that COVID, this time of COVID, has been tough on people, and it's been tougher on some people financially, way more than others. We are not asking you, if this is beyond and none of these ideas that have been suggested work for you, you know what? Just pray for the initiative. We need a lot of prayer poured into this so that it's successful. We want it to be
Sunny side up.
Sorry? Somebody said something.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you. Sorry, John.
It's okay. Say it now.
No, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Sorry.
I don't even know who that is. Who's talking to me?
It's Mariette.
Hi, Mariette. Okay, I got an idea for you. And again, there's two ideas that come from me. My kids said to me, Dad, what do you want for Father's Day? I said, well, I'm going to make it really easy on you. I want you as a group to whatever money you were going to give for my Father's Day, I want you to make a pledge for this new initiative. So I'm going to write that down as, like Father's Day, birthday, that sort of thing, instead of presents. Now, I know presents are nice, but you know what? I'm going to tell, presents. This is live, folks. There used to be a time in my life where presents were really amazing. But since I've been in Haiti, folks, I'm going to tell you right up front, I have way more than I will ever need. And you know what? Now, I told you I was going to give you two ideas. There are some of you who might just write a check. For some of you, you'll say, you know what? I think this is a good idea. God has blessed me. I'm one of the people who've been blessed in this time. Maybe we haven't been spending as much. And maybe God, you've been just kind of waiting and saying, I wonder why I've got this extra money. Well, maybe it's for today, right? Has anybody else got any more thoughts before I move on?
I want to just interject. There was another question.
Yep.
So the question is in the chat box, are other churches doing other months, or are we continuing for 6 months or a year? Well, I think this is marvelous. I'll tell you, when I first talked to John and the committee that started to work on this piece for Trinity, I said this was an adventure in faith for myself and Nicole at EMC World Partners. She's our director. We did not have anyone fully committed. We didn't have any commitments for funds starting in January, but in January, the Haiti initiative began in full in Haiti. And so, to a long answer to a short question, yes, there are some other churches that are coming on board and are giving monthly a small amount. The Albright Church in Winnipeg is committed to another piece of, they're committed to the health part of the Jean de Naut community. So they resource 3 health staff at the Jean de Naut clinic, and then they are contributing a little bit towards this project. So it would be wonderful to see Trinity contribute for longer, but at this point in time, we are contributing to 1 month, committed to 1 month. And yes, there are other churches, and that this is part of what I do on a day-to-day basis, is connect with churches to encourage them to become part of this project. So for June, I can't really say that there's the $7,500 available at this point to send for the end of June.
So the other part I'm going to add to this, we talked I was brought on after the missions committee had made this decision. And one of the things that was suggested is, how many months do you think we can support? So 1 month worth of support in Canadian dollars is 7,500. If I was live in the building, I would have been pushing for 2 months support. And being live in the building, we would be able to do broader things, but we decided we would just start with 1 month of support, and then let's see if, and this is a 3-year project. So maybe we get to, and by the way, we're going to run this campaign for 6 months, June, July, August, September, October, November. In November, we are going to have a party. And at that party, we are going to celebrate God's goodness.
Mm-hmm.
And if we haven't raised the full 7,500, you know what? We'll use that as maybe a dessert auction or something. And we will be back together by November, God willing. But the other thing is, if we raise extra, then I guess we raise 1.2 months worth of support. Whatever we can raise will help this project move forward. I guess that's what I'm saying to you, right? I hope that answers the question. I want to just add one more to my chart. There are odd jobs. You know, you might be somebody who's got a lawnmower. You might be somebody who's got some weeding gloves, and you go around your neighborhood and say, I'm trying to raise some money for this Haiti initiative at my church. Could I weed your garden for you? And you can make a contribution. There are lots of things. So unless there's somebody who's got a late breaking piece of advice for me,
we have 2 more suggestions.
I'm ready.
One is a community concert outside on the church green space, or
Okay.
a movie night with donations accepted. And then the other is community fireworks with movie night, donations accepted.
Okay, fireworks.
And while you're typing those in, just to add to that question about, are we doing it for 6 months or a year? I believe the mission committee decided that they wanted to participate for 3 years, but at a particular amount per year.
Yep.
And that's to be confirmed, I think.
And we're trying to end by 11:15. So I'm going to stop sharing. We've planted some ideas, I think. So what I'd like to do is talk to you a couple of seconds about the actual giving piece. And in order to do that, I've got to share my screen and pick up the Trinity website. Brian Thiessen will be thrilled with me, I think, for doing this. I'm going to go into the giving section, and there are lots of ways to give at Trinity. And I want to stress this. This is not switching your giving pattern so that you do the Haiti initiative instead of. This is over and above. And I need to stress that. But at Trinity, we've got so many different ways to give. We can do an e-transfer, and I'm going to go in there for a second. And so you would use as your email address, give@trinityemc.com. And I'm going to go in there, and in your e-transfer, in the memo section, you would list, you would say, you would designate Haiti RD 146 or just for H. And for some of you, it might be, here's for my general, which is GF, this much money. And here's for Haiti, this much money. So that one's pretty easy. I'm going to go back to this one, the online giving. If you give online, it's with credit card. And if you go there, hopefully it's going to, yeah, there it is. So there's the form, you fill it in, you put your credit card number, and under this, it says give to. And right now it's a general fund. Down below in the drop-down menu, there's a Haiti project or Haiti initiative, RD 146. So there's a couple of parts. You pick an item and an amount to pledge. You raise the funds however you want to raise them. And by the way, do not, if you raise $50 towards your $300 pledge, please put it in, because this money can get down to Haiti on an ongoing basis rather than, oh, let's save it all up and send it in November. We really need to keep that in mind. So you can do by credit card. There's one more. I'm going to just have to figure out how to do this for a second. There, back to give. There's the old fashioned way, which is make a check. Now, when I do a check and I want it designated, I'll put in the memo line, and I might put a distinction in the memo line, Haiti, or put it in your offering envelope and put Haiti on one of the lines, etc. If you got questions, you can speak with the treasurer and he'll help you no matter what. If you would like to do a check and you say, but John, I'm not going out very much, you just give me a phone call and I'll come pick it up. I'm that excited about this. Great. I'm almost done my part, Marilyn, and I'm going to just about turn it over to you. But just a couple of final ideas. I just got to look at my notes. Just a reminder to pray for the people that you pledge to. And again, if you're not able to participate, pray for the initiative, please. The initiative does run for 3 years. We want to raise the support to cover 1 month worth of expenses for the first year. And Marilyn, you're on.
So just before I move forward, there was a question, what does RD 146 stand for? We've just taken that as a short way of explaining the whole long title, which was in one of my initial screens, which was the Haiti Initiative, Community Mobilization, Education, and Agriculture. So it's just a short title. And one more piece in the chat box. Thank you very much, Andy, for supporting us in this piece. And thank you, John, this morning for sharing. I began my piece by sharing the Good Samaritan, loving God and loving your neighbor as yourself. And I'm asking you, how are you going to consider loving our neighbors to the south in Haiti? So John, what are some of the concluding remarks that you might want to say regarding us as followers of Jesus committed to his ministry at Trinity?
Well, again, I'm going to sound a little bit like a broken record. We have so much. We really do. I'm going to tell you, the things I need, I typically am able to buy. The things I want, sometimes I have to wait a little longer. But I believe we've been invited by God to partner in this. And we've done things with Haiti before, and the Trinity family has been faithful in their response. And that's really my prayer, that we would continue that way. This is an exciting opportunity. but again, these are difficult times, and I'm not going to diminish that. These are difficult times to do fundraising too. So before I do the benediction, I want to see if there are any questions that have not been answered. If anybody's got a question, I'd invite you to unmute and ask your question, and Marilyn or I will answer it for you, or attempt to answer it. And we won't belabor the point very long.
So in the chat box, Joe had an idea of taking your restaurant receipts, rounding them up, and donate the difference. And another idea, fast for a meal, and donate the money saved. Or if I'll just add, if you normally do a Starbucks coffee and you can't not do your Starbucks coffee, just contribute the same amount to the project, or anything that you would spend instead of buying, donate that. I want to, before John concludes, say thank you very much. Trinity has been so supportive of the initiatives, various initiatives in Haiti over the years, and you are supportive of me. So I'm just really blessed by the participation. And as John said earlier, a good number of us have gone to Haiti, and you do return from there with a different perspective. So I want to say thank you for your participation.
So I'm after I close with some words from Philippians, we'll open up for a fellowship time, and then this afternoon we will do prayer in the park, however we're able to. And so those of you who know me know that I love my church family. And I think those sentiments I've heard those from so many different people. So as we leave, I want to pray Philippians 1, verses 3 to 6 over us. And those words say, I thank my God every time I remember you. In all my prayers for all of you, I always pray with joy because of your partnership in the gospel from the first day until now. Being confident of this, that he who began a good work in you, in us, will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. Amen.
Amen.